So basic background is I'm 42, have 2 kids age 14 and 12, and signed divorce papers in April after almost 2 years of it being medicine out trying to get my fair share from him. The details of why are not important, but I'm angry, embarrassed, lost, and sad at any given moment of the day. A lot of this has to do with feeling like I've been replaced by a 23-year-old surfing instructor who is everything I'm not. My husband and kids claim that she is just his friend and helping him learn his lifelong desire to surf, but Jesus Christ, give me a break. My husband has primary custody because he had better lawyers who were able to manipulate some minor missteps on my part into the court seeing them as a huge deal. So this past weekend I picked up the kids and said we were going to visit my parents. They said they would rather use their season passes to SeaWorld since they spent all weekend with my parents and Aunt Stacy and Uncle Brian, my brother and sister who I didn't even know were in town. I was like, your dad took you? They said yes, that my parents had invited him over to see everyone. I was devastated because while I don't get along with my brother and sister and my mom, they let my ex-husband know they were coming and not me. I can't even let that sink in without tears forming. I sort of jested that, oh, and let me guess, Miss Surf Instructor was there too. My daughter said, well, actually we all went to her house on Ocean Beach because she gave Stacy and Brian lessons after hours. That included my mom and dad. I was so devastated I took the kids back home and just went home and cried for an hour. When I was done I sent a furious email to my entire family how inappropriate they all had been, and then not only hanging out with my ex for an entire weekend, but his little chippy, as well as a massive slap in the face, and the fact they didn't even tell they were in town, let alone invite me, makes me feel so alone. My mom was the only one to respond, and she basically said yes, it was rude we didn't tell you Stacy and Brian were here, and we shouldn't have done that. But we didn't divorce Bradley, and we still see him as a son. This email, along with your behavior over the last 5 years, should really give you insight into why we might not want you at family events. In so many words, she called me an idiot for sending the email, was I? You're the idiot big time. Reading your replies below and between the lines on your post, it's pretty easy to gather you're in the wrong. On one comment you said your marriage ended because you didn't get along, another because you were mind controlled and seduced. Although I have no doubt whatever affair you were involved with was a toxic one, sounds like you cheated on your husband and he's trying to move on. In your post, you seem to dismiss the court ruling as your ex having better lawyers and totally gloss over not getting along with your family. I'm really confused about what the 20 years younger detail has anything to do with anything, unless your ex-husband's relationship with her was what led to your divorce. This is the reason why the details of your divorce are essential to us being able to make a determination of whether you are the idiot or not. Otherwise, it just feels like you're using your prejudice against age gap relationships to deflect a reader's judgment away from the missing details in your post and towards your ex and his new girlfriend, neither of whom are doing anything wrong in relation to your post-divorce. Not gonna vote here because everyone has said anything worth saying at this point. You're 42, best case you have another 40 years on this earth, generous estimate. Please go see a therapist. I don't know you, and it will not affect me in any way if you do, but your behavior trends in a narcissistic or sociopathic direction, and as you get older and your personality grows more toxic, you will only become more alone. For your own sake, seek help and start trying to take responsibility for the enormous mistakes you have made. Husband and I were flying with our toddler. We had a long layover, so I told husband it would be nice to go to an actual restaurant. He agrees and tells me to pick. I show him one that I liked, it was in another terminal, but we had time so he agreed. We get off the plane, he starts complaining how it was too far away and his foot was bothering him. He points out another restaurant, I ask if he wanted to go there instead. He says no. As we are walking more, I told him I wasn't married to that other restaurant and if he sees something else he likes along the way to pick that one. He says no, he wants to go where I want to eat. He complains more, I offer to take bags from him as he was carrying most of them, he says no. We get separated in the crowd, I thought he was right behind me, but I turn around and he's not there. I start to wait, but then I see the restaurant is about 30 steps further, so I go ahead and wait outside there next to the menu. He comes up and starts to whine about me ditching him. I apologize and explained the restaurant was so close I thought it was okay to wait here. He told me I did it on purpose and I was really insensitive to his foot pain. We are looking at the menu, usually, we brainstorm toddler dishes. I mention they don't have anything for toddler, and he gets angry and storms off saying we walked all this way for nothing, and how I'm insensitive to his pain. I told him I felt like I was giving him options to accommodate his pain, but he refused them. I say we need to get toddler food. He says fine, go get her food then. I point out the bistro nearby and start to head over. I look back and he's still at the other spot. I was picking stuff out when I realized I didn't have my phone or wallet. I start searching for him, toddler in tow, circling around for over 30 minutes. Finally decided to head back to our gate. We see each other about halfway to the gate. Before I can say anything, he starts laying into me about how I abandoned him and did this all on purpose. I ask why would I abandon him when he has all my stuff, and I felt like he had done that to me since he was so pissed at me. He doesn't understand why I stayed over in that area looking for him for so long. I felt like he must not have even looked for us long because I was right where I said I'd be and was only there for under 10 minutes. I say I'm sorry that this happened, I understand I screwed up, but we both messed up in this. He refuses to believe that, saying I was disgusting for not being able to take all the blame since this was all my fault. I told him I felt we shared equal blame. He stops talking to me. We get on the plane, and I get 2 texts from him saying he really hated me right now and that he could not find one good reason to love me. This is the worst day of our marriage. We get home, he sleeps on the couch. Did I really screw up? I really think this is everyone's the idiot here, but if I'm an idiot, please let me know. Not the idiot, and is he usually like this? I understand being in pain, and had it just been a few complaints at the airport because he was hangry and hurting, I wouldn't say there were any idiots. But calling you disgusting. And then those texts. That is an insane overreaction. He said he hated you? If he's not usually like this, I would talk about it in a calmer moment and figure out where exactly this anger came from, because the situation didn't warrant that level of vitriol. However, if this is a pattern when you guys argue, I would take a step back and look at how healthy this marriage is. Not the idiot. Refusing everything you offered to accommodate him so he could accuse you of being insensitive, blowing up a miscommunication, telling you he hates you and there's nothing to love about you, that you're disgusting for thinking that something going wrong isn't your fault. That's all incredibly manipulative behavior. The things that he's saying wouldn't be an appropriate reaction to anything in a relationship, much less something as minor as accidentally getting separated at the airport. Does he treat you like this every time something small happens that he doesn't like? Not the idiot. I don't understand adults who expect other adults to cater to them like children. Your husband reminds me of 2 girls my best friend and I ended up traveling with for a bit when we were backpacking through Europe. They would moan at us for not getting food sooner when they were hungry, for getting lost when we were all trying to find a museum, etc. My favorite was when they would whine, "Why is everything in Greek?" We were in Greece. Anyway, I'm sorry you're in this situation. I don't have any advice, but I can empathize with how annoying that must be. Anyways, like the title says. In one of my major specific courses, we're currently doing a semester-long group project that is pretty much the entirety of the grade for that class outside of a few quizzes and 1 or 2 in-class activities. All in all, this project is a make or break if you want to pass the class. It's so annoying, but what can I do? Come to find out, we're doing the presentations with some field professionals there to watch and professors from other courses there as well. So, it's shaping up to be a pretty big deal. My professor is doing these presentations on a Friday evening, which wouldn't be too much of a problem, except that my older sister's wedding is that same Friday afternoon. Cue freak out. I email my professor asking if there's some way I can present it earlier later, but she doesn't budge. You must present on the designated date or you will not get points for the presentation. Okay. I ask if there's some way I can make up points outside of that project to help bolster my grade. She once again says no. I want to go support my sister so badly, but I live about a 6-hour drive from home, and there's pretty much no logical way I can now be in both places on time. I have a full ride scholarship to this college, which is a pretty big name school, but it's on the stipulation that I keep my grade point average above a certain mark. If I fail this class, it'll either drop me below that grade point average or leave me absolutely no wiggle room for the remaining years of university. I'm her maid of honor and I feel so scummy, but I don't think I have the willpower to sacrifice everything I worked for in high school, getting my full ride, just for her wedding. Am I the idiot if I don't go to her wedding so I can pass my class? No idiots here. It's just a crappy situation. Tell your sister, as soon as possible though. The maid of honor is the bride's right hand on the wedding day, so she needs to have some warning so that she can get someone to fill in. Will she flip out? Possibly. A lot of brides get very stressed a week before the wedding. Don't take it personally. She'll likely cool down and realize that asking you to risk losing a scholarship for her wedding is unreasonable. Just let her be mad as long as she needs and focus in your presentation. You're doing the best you can in a lose-lose situation. No idiots here, but as other people have pointed out, you need to escalate the issue. Having worked at a university in the past, I would be stunned if you couldn't find a solution that allowed you to do both. You're doing the right thing and trying to find alternative solutions, but the thing you are missing is escalation and not taking no for an answer. First thing is to speak to your lecturer's immediate superior, which is probably the head of the department. Then if needed, escalate to the dean and so on. Are you able to give the presentation via video link? Get the other members of your group to help set you up. In my head I'm imagining the Sheldon robot from Big Bang Theory. Would that count as still being there? Failing that, how about you FaceTime into your sister's wedding before or after your presentation to give a speech or a reading or something along those lines to make up for not being there. I'd say you're definitely not the idiot for not wanting to throw away your hard work and deduction. I'm 21 and my older sister is 35. I was raised as her little brother since birth. 2 years ago I found out that my sister is actually my biological mother and that my parents who raised me are biologically my grandparents. It was a shock to me, but I've had 2 years to process this information and I think I've come to terms with it. I still consider my grandparents as my parents. I was raised by loving and caring parents and never had to want for anything. I love them dearly. On the other hand, my sister and I had a very difficult relationship growing up, especially during my teenage years. I felt that she was extremely overbearing and overprotective. Even though my parents allowed me to go out with friends and gave me a curfew, 11 p.m., my sister would often call and demand to know where I was, what I was doing, who I'm hanging out with, etc. She tried to stop me from doing things she thought were too dangerous. She tried to stop me from swimming in our condo swimming pool because there was no lifeguard there despite the fact that the pool is tiny and not very deep. She also secretly asked her boyfriend to tail me and my friends when we went cycling at the beach because she was afraid I would drown in the ocean. I was 17 at the time. Me and my friends were cycling and I turned around and saw her boyfriend casually following us on a rented bicycle. It spoiled my mood and ruined the outing. At the time I thought she was just being a weird overprotective sister. My friends all thought she was really weird. None of their older sisters behaved this way. But now it all makes sense. Since she revealed to me the truth about my adoption, she thinks she can transition into a more parental figure in my life. I am really uncomfortable with that. I was raised for many years as her brother. It's just strange to see her as a parental figure after so many years. She made an emotional post on Facebook about how she finally told her son the truth and reconnected with him as a mother. I didn't say anything at the time, but was very uncomfortable with it. Yesterday she reintroduced me to a family friend as her long-lost son in front of my mother and grandmother. I was pissed and said out loud that she is my sister and will always be my sister. She's not my mother and will never be my mother. I can't explain why I was so angry. But I was really furious. She burst into tears and left the room. Didn't come out for the rest of the night. My parents haven't said anything to me directly, but the family friend thinks I was too harsh and that she was just joking. I haven't spoken to my sister since yesterday night. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. All the creepy overbearing stuff aside, as I'm sure you can understand the motivation if not appreciate the execution. If she wanted to change her relationship with you, then she should have started with you and not social media and grand pronouncements. She also shouldn't have outed your true relationship to the world without your consent. Well, these years must have been very hard on her. That's no excuse to blow up your life. Also, she wasn't joking. I don't know if the person who said that knows that she is your bio mom or not, but she definitely wasn't joking. No idiots here. You don't see your sister as your mom because she didn't raise you. You know who your parents are. Being told they're technically your grandparents doesn't change that. But your sister probably had this little fantasy built up in her head that once you were told you'd see her as the mom you were missing all your life. Only you didn't because you had a mom and it wasn't your sister. Her fantasy has been crushed and it's probably going to take her some time to get used to the fact that you're not going to see her as your mom. Not the idiot. You don't need a mother, you already have one, and you're already an adult. I do have to wonder, what makes your sister believe you would accept her as your mother at this point in your life, so she needs therapy to figure that out. Posting that status on Facebook without your permission was definitely an idiot move. I wouldn't be willing to say she's an idiot in any other respect, however, without knowing the details behind your grandparents adopting you. Going to try and keep this to the point. My girlfriend is one of those people who loves curling up in bed and throwing a fluffy blanket over herself and watching TV. She also eats a lot of snacks in bed. Popcorn, sugary donuts, chips, chocolate, cookies, you name it, she'll snack in bed. She works from home, so as soon as she's done with work she'll crawl into bed and kind of nest. It's been upsetting me majorly because she never dusts the bed down and there are always crumbs on my side of the bed. It's uncomfortable, gross, I dislike it, and I have asked her to stop multiple times. I was never raised to eat in bed, so it's weird for me. Each time she's countered with okay, I'll dust the bed down more thoroughly, or I'll vacuum more often, etc. as a method of deflecting what I'm asking. I work really long shifts, so whenever I come home I literally have a bite to eat and need to sleep. This kind of escalated last night because I came into bed and there were crumbs everywhere on my side. I pulled back my covers and there was sugary crap all over my damn bed. I ended up sleeping on the sofa because she was already asleep and I was too tired to dust everything down, and this morning I flat out told her that I no longer want her to eat in bed and it's non-negotiable. She thinks I'm being a mean, controlling idiot. I think I'm not. Not the idiot, first of all, that is gross. Second of all, that's how you get insects and rodents in your house. Lastly, beds are expensive and shouldn't be treated like disposable napkins. I'm also one of those people who likes to eat in bed. But what you are describing is beyond anything I've ever done. Like, use a serving tray maybe. Wash the sheets after spilling food on them. But yeah, I'd say it would be better to not eat in bed in this case. My bed is a new Tempur-Pedicure adjustable base bed. It's under warranty. And not paid for. I'm making payments. So if it gets stained, the warranty is void. Not the idiot. I also like to snack in bed. My husband hates crumbs in the bed though. One tiny popcorn kernel makes it into his side and he is literally too uncomfortable to sleep. I try really hard not to get crumbs in the bed, but sometimes crumbs happen. So instead, I just make a nest in the couch and can eat there to my heart's content. Beds are explicitly for sleeping, and if one partner's snacktivities make it impossible for the other partner to sleep there comfortably, then the snacker should relocate and eat elsewhere. Not the idiot. If finances allow, maybe twin beds will be a suitable compromise. Or, if finances allow, maybe separate homes and a new relationship will also be a suitable compromise. If you don't have the finances, you can find a colony of ants outside for free. Depending on where you live, you might even find the fiery variety that will take care of all those pesky crumbs for you. You might have to continue to sleep on the couch for longer than you might want to, but it's almost certain that this will yield some sort of results.